An essay on Karl Marx's view of worker exploitation in the context of margins in business theory and the concept of mutual gain. Fellow citizens of this republic, I take quill in hand to reflect upon the concerns that have arisen in our age regarding the condition of the working man and his place within the economic order. In particular, let us engage with the thought of one Karl Marx, who, in his Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, declared that the laborer is exploited by the capitalist who extracts surplus value from his toil. Though Marx's sentiments bear relevance to some of the grievances of the working class, they fall short when viewed through the lens of free enterprise and mutual gain, a more fitting principle that befits a prosperous republic founded on liberty. Marx asserts that the worker, in offering his labor to a capitalist in exchange for wages, is subject to exploitation. According to Marx, the capitalist pays the worker less than the full value of the labor's product, and thus the worker is robbed of what is rightfully his. The difference between the value produced by the worker and the wages he receives is termed surplus value, which the capitalist retains as profit. This Marx deemed to be the very foundation of worker exploitation in the capitalist system. Indeed, Marx's doctrine casts the capitalist in the role of a tyrant who extracts wealth from the working man without just recompense. His solution was the abolition of private ownership of the means of production, arguing that the worker ought to control the fruits of his labor rather than see the profits taken by those he considered to be parasitic capitalists. However, there is another way to view the arrangement between the worker and the capitalist that more aligns with the ideals of liberty and mutual benefit, a view that rests not upon exploitation, but upon the principle of voluntary exchange, and one which understands the power of entrepreneurship to elevate all citizens. Let us now consider the notion of mutual gain in the framework of margins in business theory, a concept that contrasts sharply with Marx's ideas of exploitation. In a free market, the relationship between the worker and the business owner is not one of tyranny, but rather one of voluntary exchange. The worker, in offering his labor, makes a calculation. The wages offered by the employer must be worth more to him than the time and effort he expends in labor. Likewise, the employer values the worker's contribution more than the wage he must pay for it. In this exchange, both parties benefit from the transaction, creating a state of mutual gain. Thus, when a worker voluntarily accepts employment, he does so because the compensation, be it wages, benefits, or experience, offers him more value than his unspent labor time. This is a form of voluntary contract where both the worker and the employer find themselves better off. The worker gains a livelihood, while the employer benefits from the productivity of labor. Here we see no coercion, no theft, but a harmonious balance of mutual interests. In this equation, a crucial factor is the worker's ability to seek better opportunities when the compensation offered is insufficient. In a republic where enterprise is not stifled by oppressive regulation or the heavy hand of government, every worker holds within his grasp the ability to rise above his station. The right to own property, to start businesses, and to compete freely in the market is the cornerstone of liberty and the antidote to any perceived exploitation. If wages are too low or conditions unfavorable, the worker is not bound to his position by force. In a pro-entrepreneurial environment, he may strike out on his own, starting his own business, becoming the employer, and forging his own path. This freedom to ascend ensures that the business environment remains competitive, which in turn raises the need for labor. As demand for labor increases, so too must wages rise in response to competition among employers seeking the best workers. Thus, the market, by its very nature, encourages a fairer distribution of wealth, not through the coercion of Marx's socialism, but through the organic functioning of competition and innovation. Further, let us not forget the role of margins in business theory and the oft-maligned middleman. Marx may have viewed these individuals as unnecessary burdens upon the worker's labor, but the truth is that middlemen perform vital functions within the economy. In every enterprise there are margins, the difference between costs and revenue, that must be maintained to ensure profitability. The middleman, whether he be a distributor, broker, or manager, is essential to the functioning of the market. As the saying goes, you may replace the middleman, but you cannot replace his function. Middlemen coordinate the flow of goods, ensure efficiency, and bring products to market where they are needed. Their work is not an imposition upon the worker's labor, but rather a necessary link in the chain of commerce that benefits all participants. Finally, to fully understand the role of labor, capital, and mutual gain, we must return to the founding principles of this republic. The United States Constitution was written not to stifle enterprise or to promote government intervention in the economy, but to protect the liberty of the people. When government overreaches and distorts the natural functioning of the market, it leads to the very inequalities Marx decried. However, in a republic where government is restrained by the principles of the Constitution, enterprise is free to flourish, and mutual gain is the natural result. In conclusion, Marx's theory of worker exploitation, while capturing some of the grievances of his age, fails to account for the voluntary nature of labor and the mutual benefit that arises in a free market system. The true path to prosperity for the worker lies not in the abolition of private property or the stifling hand of government control, but in the liberty to pursue opportunity, to engage in voluntary exchange, and to rise by his own hand if so desired. This republic, founded upon the principles of liberty and mutual gain, has within its power the ability to lift the laborer and the entrepreneur alike. Let us, therefore, guard these principles with vigilance and strive always for a market that rewards labor, encourages enterprise, and protects the freedom of every man to prosper.